Hey everyone.
Hello.
Hey, my name is Sav Ohanyan. I'm co-writer and a producer on Searching, and this is
Anish Chaganty. I'm the co-writer and director of Searching.
Welcome.
Thank
so, most of our audience haven't watched Searching
Right,
before.
yeah.
I didn't either. I watched the trailer.
Okay.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about the film? Yeah.
So Searching is, the way I like to describe it, is a very classic thriller told in a very unconventional way. The classic thriller part about it is that it's about a dad, played by John Cho, who goes looking for his missing daughter when she disappears. And the very unconventional part about it is that the whole movie is told on the screens and devices that we use every day to communicate. That's phones, laptops, tablets, anything that we use.
Yeah, so when I said classic thriller, I'm like, wait, no,
Yeah.
it's not that classic.
The story itself, what we're telling, is is something that you're familiar with, but just the way we're doing it, hopefully, will feel very not classic.
Very non-classic,
Yeah.
very cool. And I watched the trailer, so I guess it's a very technology-based feature. So how did you have that idea? Like, want to just present, almost the whole story just on a laptop, like
totally.
a screen?
In a lot of ways, the idea was kind of brought to us. We've been working together. We're writing partners. Anish directs, I produce, and I had a meeting with a company called Basilev's that they had made a movie called Unfriended that is also on screens, and they had asked me if I knew any filmmakers. I brought in Anish, and they asked us, can you guys help us come up with an idea for a short film that would take place on devices?
And that, for us, was a lot more interesting than doing a feature film at the moment, because in the beginning we were like, there's no way you can make a feature film that takes place on a computer screen and still have it be cinematic and engaging and thrilling. So we were like, let's do a short film. So we ended up coming up with the idea for this movie, Searching, as a short film first, before it ever became a feature. The production company loved this idea, and they were like, let's make it into a feature, and we were like, no, let's not do that, because it's not going to be a good movie.
Well, I was saying, maybe let's do that. Why would we say no to that? But why are you saying no?
It was like, yeah, it felt like we weren't doing the right thing artistically. It wouldn't be right. So about a month later, both of us kept talking about it, and one day we found a really cool opening into the story through the opening montage, through the opening scene of the film, that all of a sudden made it feel like maybe we could tell a story that, despite the fact that it was told on screens, could still feel like emotional, thrilling, and most of all, like you were watching a movie that belonged in a movie theater. And that for us was the biggest kind of incentive to kind of go ahead.
So at first you were not that sure,
Yeah,
you can,
absolutely,
it can. But you are like, yeah, maybe.
I mean,
You
I'm
have
a producer,
confidence.
so
Yeah,
for me, anytime someone's offering me money to make a movie, I'm not gonna say no. I might be like, I'll think about it. So yeah, it took
You're
a little
like,
bit of convincing.
yes, Anish will do it. Right?
Exactly. Yes, let him do all the work.
Yeah, I can confirm Anish is available. TechAvail LA. Yeah.
So also, Anish, I read about your bio, and then you have work. So you made this Google Glassbox seeds, and then Google invited you to join their team, for a while. For how long?
2 years, I was
2
there,
years.
yeah.
So do you think what you learned there or what you create there? Thank you so much, Sam. It's supposed to be my job. Thanks. So, do you think what you learn here or what you discover there can actually affect how you make this film? Is it kind of
did it
relatable?
have a relation? Yeah, absolutely. I learned so much. I mean, if you've ever seen a Google commercial, Google was the first anything to make anything that took place on a computer screen. Their first commercial that Google ever made was on the Super Bowl, I think in 2005, and it was only told on Google searches. And it was a love story about a guy who goes to Paris, meets the love of his life, and gets married to her and has a kid. And it was only told through Google searches, and it was so creative. And I remember watching that and being like, this feels like I know a language that I never knew I knew, even though the story underneath it was a normal love story. The way it was told made it feel so fresh. And when I worked at Google, a lot of my bosses, a guy named Jesse Juriga and Josh Rosen, they taught me so much about how to emote on a screen, even though you don't see a face, like a cursor moving or a cursor blinking or like a loading bar loading could still evoke love and hate and fear and all these emotions. And having that correlation happen and then being able to tell a story on top of it was such a satisfying experience. And a lot of those lessons literally directly affected this movie, because it's a lot of the same shots and styles and lessons that I learned there were immediately applied to the filmmaking.
Yeah,
here.
it just naturally comes to you, right?
I wouldn't say it naturally comes to me, but I learned, and
after like a while, you are immersed in that kind of environment.
Exactly,
It's the language you know, right? So also, things it's like when I see it, it's a very simple set for me. It's not easy for you guys, but I feel like, oh, it's just presented through, a computer screen. Is it easier for, production, like as a producer, because you don't have like location scouting and a lot, other problems?
Oh man,
so.
Christine, you have to see the movie, because I think, it might be, maybe hearing about it might seem easier, but I think when you see the movie, you'll see like it's probably the furthest thing from easy. The movie, yeah, totally. So it's about a father searching for his missing daughter, and even though the movie's kind of told in a very unconventional way through the devices we use every day, it's still a search. At first it's him by himself, then he brings on a detective played by Deborah Messing, and that starts a huge investigation. And we're gonna see them go through the neighborhood, maybe enter like wilderness areas, there's aerial stuff, there's car chases. It becomes, as you watch the movie, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and the bigger it became, the harder of a challenge it became for us to make the film.
And add on top of all of that, that's just the footage we shot. All of that has to go back into a computer screen, or these phones or whatever we're shooting it on, and get refined. So we made like an animated movie and a normal movie, and then like pushed them together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Never again.
So also, it's probably really hard for editing too, right?
Yeah.
Because so is yourself the editor or no?
Thank God. I wouldn't be here right now. It'd be Sev, and you'd be saying like, yeah, he lived a good life. He's at he's at the cemetery on Santa Monica, the Forever Cemetery. We had two incredible editors who we both went to USC with as well. Nick Johnson and Will Merrick. You did? You did. Yeah, fight on. Yeah, awesome. We had Will Merrick and Nick Johnson, and they are like just whiz kids geniuses who we plan on bringing with us on every movie. But the two of them started working on this movie 7 weeks. They were the first people we hired. Normally you hire people who actually help shoot the movie. In our case, we hired the editors first, because they started working 7 weeks before we even cast the movie, and just started making the movie, screenshotting the internet by themselves, using me as photos to make an hour and 40-minute version of the movie starring me playing every role, so that we could understand what movie we were making. And then we shot that movie, put the characters back in, and then continue to refine it.
So it's basically like an experiment. You first, test it out and see if it.
Exactly.
But you know what's funny is like the editors were so crucial to the entire look and feel of the movie that we did something that I don't know if it's ever been done before. We gave them, in addition to their editing credits, we gave them a separate credit, directors of virtual photography. Because like he said, we shot the movie, and then we had to make the computer version of it, and the editors determined where the cameras moved. They did so much that they really became a crucial part of the entire creative process for us.
It was 5 people who made the movie in equal capacities.
Yeah, and they have to understand your language and what you're trying to say really well too.
It became our language. It's like there was no ownership here. It was just like we all taught each other how to make the movie.
Okay, last question, because we are running out of time. So, I'm really a big fan of John Cho.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys, cast John Cho?
Begged him, That
works.
It's a long story, but I think initially, everyone involved is very hesitant to join a movie that doesn't have a precedent. What we were trying to make was something hopefully people hadn't seen before. So the idea of jumping on that, especially if you are someone in the caliber of John Cho or Deborah Messing, is not just an easy leap of faith to make, especially when you have me, who is a no one. I've never made a movie before, being like, yeah, trust me, I'll do it. It's like, who is this kid? So, it was a lot of trying to convince them on our passion, on our energy, and on this like ambition that we had for the project, and it took some time, but ultimately like it was all them, you know, them taking this massive leap of faith, and we're so glad they did, because both of them, I think, elevated the movie to a quality level that we didn't deserve, and is you know, way better than it should have been. So we're glad they took that leap of faith with us.
Yeah. Wow, and also it's totally a new idea. So like, you know, you convince him, oh, this is gonna work.
I mean, listen, there are plenty of new ideas that are like, yeah, that's why that shouldn't have been an idea in the first place. So I'm glad this one worked out in some capacity.
Yeah. So I can't wait, you know, to watch
Christina.
it.
I appreciate
And
it.
okay, last question. So what's your next step, like next project or any, you know, maybe not film. It doesn't have to be film.
No, it's definitely a film. Yeah, literally right now we are working on kind of moving forward on our next movie. It's a thriller. It's about a parent and a child, about a mother and a daughter. As everything that we do tends to be about parents and kids for some reason, except it's very dark and definitively does not take place on a computer screen.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, sweetheart. Where are you?
Study group. I'm gonna go all night.
Oh, one more thing. I want to know
Dad.
about the final you took today.
I'm Margot. I'm 15. Student.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm calling to report a missing person.
Okay, who is this regarding?
My daughter.
I'm the detective assigned to your daughter's case. I need to know how everything unfolded.
Understood.
I think we're gonna go late, like all night.
1. After a study session, Margot didn't return home.
Margot Kim. School has her marked as absent today.
2. She didn't attend school on Friday.
My daughter is in a lesson with you right now?
Margot canceled her classes 6 months ago.
And 3. She's been transferring funds for the last 6 months. We'll handle the ground investigation, but as a parent, you can help us with who your daughter talks to. Is that something you can do?
Yes. Do you mind answering some questions for me to help?
Did see her eat lunch alone.
On Thursday?
Every day.
You don't think she's involved with anything serious?
I know my daughter.
We're not really that close.
She has friends, right?
Kind of.
Why did you invite her to study group?
I'm trying to get into Berkeley next year.
When was the last time you saw her?
She did not run away.
Local team has been missing since last Thursday.
She made a transaction of $2,500. I know my daughter. Where were you the night my daughter went missing? I know my daughter.
Look into her behavior also.
She gets a fake ID. I know my daughter. This is her keychain.
She was my best friend. You broke his jaw.
I know my daughter.
I'm trying to help you find my daughter.
I didn't know her. I didn't know my daughter.